Alrighty, welcome to the Resilient Living Podcast. I'm Jared Wilson, joined by my friend Ryan.
Hey, everybody.
All right, so Ryan, what are we talking about tonight?
Tonight, we're going to talk about what I dubbed the backup power ladder. So it's kind of an idea of how to get started in backup power and what your process is going to be. Because I think a lot of people think of it as I'm going to go get a big generator, I'm going to put it in the garage, and when power goes out, I'm going to start it up and all will be well.
Right,
And
that's how it works. I mean, I'm sure
yes,
that I didn't ever have to maintenance any generators that came in with clogged fuel filters, completely varnished up carburetors, dead startup batteries. None of it.
nope, never happened. Especially not when the people most needed it, right?
Well, and that's the thing. This is critical equipment. So whether we're talking about medical or emergency power or whatever, this is stuff that your life may depend on. So this is something that you need to prioritize.
Yeah, and have backups of,
Sure.
various ways to do the same thing. But if we set it up right, we can do that in an affordable way, in a, kind of buy it over time way, as opposed to, I'm going to go out and spend thousands of dollars before I even really know what I need. So that's kind of the approach today. Is we're going to take a start small, think about what you need, and kind of build from there, so that you have redundancy built into everything.
Sure.
So the first thing you want to do when you're starting to do this is kind of it's somewhat twofold. One is reducing the power
Okay.
that you need to use, and two is prioritizing the loads that you think are going to be really important.
Right. Right. Because it's not like we're just wanting to go in and completely supply our existing power needs, right?
Yeah, I mean, the grid gives us such wide-ranging power options. Like it's just so much is available. 200 amps at 240 volts
That's so much
is
power.
that is a huge amount of power. And we just have gotten accustomed to it. It's kind of like, like when gas gets too cheap in the economy, and then you start like people are buying Humvees and things, and just
Because
driving them around
yeah,
like,
why not,
why?
right?
Yeah. And we kind of
They're
take the
horrible
same,
vehicles, just if you want to know.
yeah, right. But are you saying the military ones and the civilian ones?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Both.
The Civi ones are a little bit better because they have actual interior and air conditioning.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, it's the same concept, right? It's like to us, 200 amps to 240 volts is like unlimited energy,
Hmm.
other than you have to pay for it. But, you get a lot of it and relatively cheaply
Yep.
compared to trying to run your own generator off of gasoline or something. So if we first look at, what we're running that we don't have to run, especially in an outage, and we prioritize those loads. So maybe we're looking at, refrigerators, some fans, certain things that are totally essential for us to function. But we're then removing things like whole home HVAC
Yeah.
or,
Right.
yeah, electric water heaters, things like that, electric dryers that are going to really use a huge amount of electricity.
Right.
And so we have to think about what we're going to prioritize if any of those things need temporary replacements during an outage or during an emergency, and then try to figure out how we're going to run those things with what we have and what we're going to kind of store and set up.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm really stoked. Like, so I've got that EG4 HVAC mini split in the
Mhm.
shop, and they upgraded me to the solar hybrid one. So like I could just plug a solar panel. I don't have any, but I could, plug a solar panel into it and it'll run off of solar. So then I've offset, you potentially, if you're looking for a decent mini split that can handle 500 square foot, it could probably handle more. There's a good, mini split from EG4 that's already set up for solar integration, and then you have it's there, and then you're not having to worry about pulling in a big old HVAC unit in an emergency. It's already running off of solar.
Yeah. And so you're cooling a specific room instead of
Hmm.
cooling your entire house.
Exactly.
Yeah, with a unit that's not only efficient but will run directly off of solar panels
as long as
in, as long as the sun is out. So yeah, there's some options like that we'll kind of get into about just how to think about how to do this, as
Mhm.
opposed to let's get a whole home generator and hope it works when we need it.
Yeah, right.
One of my other gripes about whole home generators, just so I can go off on a tangent here, is I really hate them, with one exception. If you've
Okay.
got natural gas to your home,
Oh,
it is
yeah.
an okay first backup system,
Sure.
right? But if you've got propane or gasoline,
Dude.
getting a generator that's big enough to run your whole house is a really bad idea.
Mhm.
You'll live
Yeah.
like a king for a week or two, maybe at best.
Yeah. I mean, even if you got a big old propane tank out back, yeah, well, you're still gonna have to have it refilled. I
Yeah.
mean, it's gonna run out, whereas, nat gas is, it's gonna run.
Yep. Yeah, natural gas is generally considered to be able to run even if there was a full-blown outage, fairly large regional outage for
Right.
2 weeks, natural gas will continue to run because
Right.
the pressurized systems have backups upon backups. So in that case, a whole home generator as your first line of defense, and then you have a couple of tiers under that is okay, but it's also not where I'd start.
No, no, I would not prioritize that. No, you're correct.
Yep. So, anyways, first thing is reduce. Think about what you can reduce and the loads that you absolutely need or want to prioritize, and then figure out how much those are actually going to take to run. So, things like refrigerators, freezers, maybe a well pump if you've got a well,
Sure.
essential lighting, internet or communications, medical equipment like CPAP masks or other oxygen devices, things like that. You want to make sure that those don't stop working. Livestock water. Uh, Sometimes if you've got a gas furnace, running the furnace blower off of a generator or other
Or
backup
small
equipment.
inverter and battery, yeah, right.
Yep. That can be a way to use fuel to heat the home, but also you need the electricity. So you have to think about how to do that. But I would not recommend any type of whole home heating or cooling that is exclusively electric.
Yes, yes. And, to Vic's point, yes, they're stupid expensive.
Yep. And then, I've had to, I don't know, I've had to maintenance some of those or help people get them set up, and they'll like disconnect from certain ones will disconnect from Wi-Fi, and if they're not on Wi-Fi, they don't run their startup processes often enough,
Oh.
and
Uh-oh.
so the carbs get gummed up, and
Oh, no.
so there's all kinds of caveats with that, and a lot of huckster companies that want to install them for you and things that don't
Sure.
talk about those caveats.
The other stuff. Well, and that's a lot, like, honestly, I like simple. I don't really like the technologically advanced stuff like vehicles. I want a carburetor and points. I don't I don't want fuel injection. I definitely don't want an infotainment center that runs my car.
Right. Yep, absolutely. All right. And so when we're doing that, prioritizing, there might even be some things that we can replace so that, if an event happens where we need backup power, we're more ready for it. And so that might
Sure.
be something like if you've got natural gas to your home, set up instead of replacing your current old tank water system, you could set it up with an instant water
Mm,
system, instant
sure.
or tankless water
Tankless, yeah.
system. Yeah. And that could save you a lot of money over time. And it can also increase your ability to run it with a generator or solar or something else.
Mhm.
Um,
We have a
yeah,
good
go ahead.
question. We have a good one. Our thoughts on building systems with an eye towards being able to expand them in the future. Is technology moving too fast to make that feasible? And I think that that is kind of where we're going to go with this is the expandability of systems.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's an excellent question. And yes, you can expand it. If you go with some things, you might have an issue expanding it later, but a lot of things like, a solar charge controller inverter with a battery
Right.
Is if you're getting a decent brand like an EG4 or something like that, and you're paying a little extra, a little bit of a premium for a brand that tends to stand behind its products,
Right.
they're generally flexible enough that you can expand in different ways later, like paralleling an additional inverter onto it, or
Yeah. Right.
yeah. Um,
Yeah, a lot of those MPPTs are designed for the use of, having them stack, whether you're running multiple series or if you're running in parallel. Yeah, they're designed for that. I, but to your point, go with a reputable brand that's going to continue support and isn't a fly by night where they're just going to pump out Chinesium and run.
Yep, exactly. And so EG4 is really kind of the gold standard on that. They do a really good job supporting their stuff. You pay a little
Yep.
bit extra for that. That's, that's the cost of doing business. One of the things I really like to do is pair something like an EG4 inverter charge controller and some of their other equipment with something like a HumSync battery, where it's
Yeah.
a good established brand, but they're a lot more affordable.
Right.
And the inverter charge controllers are generally where you end up needing the more
Yeah.
technical support.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, you can expand those things over time. But if you're getting something that's really cheap or a company that doesn't necessarily continue to make that product long term, that can be an issue. And yes, over time, if you're really extending this out, if you're like 10 years later and you're like, oh, I want to add another inverter and battery, you really can't. Your batteries will be mismatched. So there are some caveats there, but the idea today is that we'll talk about how to structure your system and your thought process to be able to kind of buy over time and make it all work together.
Sure. Sure.
All right. So now we've talked about what's this one?
Vic's had some interactions with EG4 also. He's called them about his 6000 XP. Dude, I was so stoked when I called them after we got struck by lightning, which we got struck by lightning again last week. My AC is good this time though.
Nice.
They were awesome. I'm like, hey, just wanted to let you know that this happened. Is it possible for me to get a new control board? And they're like, no, we'll just send you a whole new unit.
Yeah.
You guys didn't do anything wrong. Your system, there was nothing wrong. I mean, it got struck by lightning. They're like, no, we got you. Awesome. So
Cool.
shout out to EG4.
I've never had an issue getting an inverter or something replaced. I think I've done 2 or 3 that ended up needing replacements, and one was because somebody else wired it up wrong.
Oh, yeah, right.
And it let the magic white smoke out.
Yeah.
So it's like, and they replaced it. I'm like, that's pretty cool. So they're good to work with, and obviously you're going to pay a bit more because they're generous with their return policy and all that. So,
but you get what you pay for.
Yep, for sure. If you want to go kind of mid tier, there's Eco Worthy.
Yep.
Not EcoFlow. So there's EcoFlow, which is a separate thing. I'm not a huge fan. Eco Worthy actually seems to be overall pretty decent. They have decent.
I've heard good things about the
charge
batteries.
controllers. Yep. And then I like HumSync for their batteries, but they just came out with inverters. I don't know if they're good or not. I haven't gotten to try them, but the specs look great for the price.
Yay.
So anyways, where we're going to start here after we've kind of figured out what our loads are, the things we have to run. Let's start small. A few things that you can buy or set up. We're going to start with small stored power systems. So basically little battery devices that can help you get through. One of the big things that I love to recommend are the Anchor battery packs.
Okay. Yeah.
Or other similar battery packs. Do you have any in the shop that you sell?
Nope. Upstairs. Okay. Not in the shop. I don't have Anchors in the shop. I've got a couple other different brands for batteries.
Yeah, there's other brands that are good too. Anchor is just the one everybody knows, right?
Yes.
So one of those battery packs can power all kinds of things. Basically, any of your communications, heated jackets,
right?
Heated blankets, all kinds of phone call. all kinds of things that we need. Um, Basically, so many things can now be found powered off of USB. And
Yeah,
so having one of those battery banks really can get you through a lot in and of itself if you set it up with certain other items that are USB powered.
right.
You can get things like rechargeable lights or lights that have batteries built into them. So that will give
Sure.
you, if you have a power outage, that'll give you a few hours of light to kind of get things set up rather
Oh, yeah,
than,
sure.
you know, you're working on dinner and power goes out and you can't see anything and you burn yourself on the pan and,
Right,
or whatever it is, you slip
right.
and fall in the
Everybody should
shower.
have a light, and hey, look, it's
Yep.
USB chargeable.
Exactly. I bet you could charge that light like 20 times off of a decent size, the Anchor power back
Oh
banks.
gosh, yeah. Yeah, not to mention like off of like a DeWalt with a, the big old 6 amp hour, that sucker will
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. I think we talked about that like pretty early on, how you can
Mhm.
use power tool batteries.
Right?
You could there's even companies that are now making like I can take my Makita batteries and put two 5 amp hour Makita batteries onto it's a pure sine wave 500 watt inverter
Oh, that's
charger.
awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be perfect. Yeah, that's a good thing to have just on hand, just to have. Like
Yeah. And I think it's like 80 or
f
$90. Like it's
for pure s
Chinesium,
but for
but
a pure sine wave 500 plus watt inverter, that's not horrible.
that runs on your drill batteries
And
that
that's
you
designed to
already
run on your
have.
drill. Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't have to do any weird, janky adaptations. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's cool.
Yeah, and so now I can charge my phones or I can run small electronics, small
Yes.
things off. Yeah, I'm not going to run my fridge off of it. It's just a little like running watts. A fridge would technically run on it, but
But startup,
probably
mm,
not. But I can run smaller things off of it and charge tons of things off of all these. I've got 15 drill batteries sitting around that are almost always topped off.
oh, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
something small like that, or even, I think what you were kind of referencing is you can get these little hats USB
Mhm.
hats that slide on to your power power tool
It's just
batteries. And
direct USB ports and you're done.
yep, exactly. So
So
those are
so now,
great too.
like, now you can charge up your ham radios, you can run, charge up your tablet, you can charge, you could run, there's a lot of systems that you could run directly off of that.
Yep. Another thing you could look at, or a good example of something like this, would be a small uninterruptible power supply.
Yes.
So um, generally, when we think about like what are the power packs, like a I don't know, a Pecron or a Jackery or
Yeah.
something like that, Bluity. If the real small ones, you oftentimes can be used as an uninterruptible power supply. So you plug it
Mhm.
into the wall, and then you plug in your oxygen or your whatever the thing is that
And
is
then if
really
anything
important.
happens in the night, you're still running.
Exactly. So rather than having this giant generator that you have to like go and start up, you have your things that are really pertinent, able to be run for a really long time off of a very small, inexpensive device because it's distributed rather than one big thing.
Yeah, right. Yes.
That allows you to take, a small portable power station and you can move it around too. So you can move it from place to place if one doesn't work. You've got the one is none, two is how's it go?
One is none, two is one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that whole thing. So you can afford to get multiple of these different systems that you can distribute throughout your house and use for different purposes. And some of these small portable power stations are big enough to actually run your fridge
Mm,
and can
mhm.
keep something like that running for a while until you do get the generator out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. This is stopgap. This is not,
Mhm.
a permanent solution. This is, hey, let's, get us some light, make sure we have communication. We know what's going on. Is the storm going to get worse? Is there another tornado coming? Whatever. And then in the interim, like while we're fussing with the generator because battery's dead, make sure you have a jump pack. I sell those in the shop.
Well, and the jump packs can double as the USB,
Yes.
backups. So
Dude, the one I've got in the shop is like no joke. It's like this big. It's rated all the way through like big old diesels. Like it's got some
awesome.
oomph. It's got like 8 gauge, big old claw mounts. It'll yeah, it's good.
That's very cool. Yeah, those are jump packs are awesome. And since they double, oftentimes they've got a flashlight on them.
Yep.
And they might even have like hazard flashers on them.
Some of them do. Yeah, it's true. Yep.
But they're going to definitely have USB charging off of them. And the number of times you could recharge your phone with one of those is ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, there's so much power in one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Or
like
your,
some of them have compressors built into them, so you can pump up your tire at the same time. Like
yep.
they're awesome.
Yeah, and they're not like you're not going to pump up your tire quickly, but you're going to get it to the actual correct PSI, which is amazing.
Yeah. Right.
So you just have to wait a little longer.
Vic had a question. What's up, Vic? Not sure how to phrase this, but it's proving beneficial for us to have one larger system, primary, and a few small independent solar nodes that maybe run one or two panels.
Yeah.
It's good redundancy. Yeah, I agree. It is really nice to have one solid, reliable system that can manage most everything. But then, yeah, having a couple backups that are fully vetted out and functional to manage the important infrastructure stuff. Absolutely.
Yep, I agree. And Kevin has this comment. He says, "I use a whole home generator."
Yeah.
But it comes on when the batteries need to be charged, and it's only 800 watts, not overkill.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've seen some were like 20,000. I'm like, dude, that's like for me in my neighborhood. Like,
right.
My running wattage for my house is less than 6K. Like, I don't need 20K.
Yep. No, and Kevin's right there. That's a great way to do it, and we're kind of going to get there where I want to consider it a whole home generator, and I generally use a smaller than 8,000 watt, but that's my preference.
Yeah.
You can set it up the way you want it to. And in Kevin's case, what he's doing is he's topping up batteries on a system, then shutting it off.
Yeah.
So
that's a perfect use for it. Yeah.
Yep. He's not running it indefinitely, and he's probably sized that generator so that it tops off the batteries. Well, the generator is running at about 80% capacity.
Yeah, not pushing super hard and not barely trucking. It's actually
Yep, because
80%. They really want that 80%. They just batteries like that 80%, generators like that 80%. It's a nice where you're not overheating anything, you're not boiling acid. It's just it's a good percentage to go for.
Yeah, well, and if the generator's running at 80% and you've sized the generator to be that size to top off your batteries, it's a really perfect balance because generally 80% load capacity for that generator. So this 8,000 watt generator, that would be what? 6,200?
Yeah, 62. Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere in there. I'm doing my maths right. And that would be about perfect because it's going to run at its most efficient and the cleanest power right at that 80%.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So my gen set is rated 4650 on gasoline, 44 on propane. And I wanted that so that I could hit that 3,200K mark and hold, which was my goal.
Yep. No, that's the way to do it. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about, stored power systems. So basically the storage being in that small system and it can be distributed. And then, various things can have the batteries in them as well. So we're basically storing power to use later and other things largely that have power storage in them.
Right.
Phones, radios, internet equipment, lights, laptops, small fans, things like that, small distributed systems that keep things running. And they're kind of a stopgap, but they also may be a good prep in general. If you haven't been able to kind of get started down this road yet, it might be your first foray.
Yeah. And a fairly low barrier, to get into it is, it's definitely a worthwhile endeavor, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So the next step here, at least in my opinion, is to move on to small inverter generators.
Okay.
And the reason for this is they're extremely efficient, they're extremely quiet, and they will top off things like the power banks that we just talked about, the small power banks,
Right.
the USB devices, and they'll run things like your fridge or freezer. And so you can start it up, charge up the things you need to, run your fridge and freezer until they're down to temp, and then shut it off
Cut it
and
off.
save a
Yeah.
bunch of fuel.
So you're talking about like those little Honda i series, like the little 2000 I's and stuff like that. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 And I've got a whole video on let's see, AI power that makes a they make a version as well that's very similar. They've got several different tiers, and it's
Is that on
way
your
cheaper than the
YouTube
Honda.
channel?
Yeah, the video is on my YouTube channel, so people can go and look it up. It's almost kind of like a review and talking about what you can power with that specific, the specific generator I was using, which is a 1600 watt.
Nice.
But I'm more of the mindset that I could get two of the less expensive kind of knockoff Honda generators, or
Hmm.
I could probably get three or four for the same price as the same version Honda.
Right.
And so as long as it's like a decent brand, like a Champion or a,
Oh, okay.
whatever,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I can get something that functions just as well. Even a Predator, for that matter,
Hmm.
is a really close knockoff
Right.
to the Honda. They have a huge amount of interchangeable parts, so
Sure. Well,
aftermarket parts
it all
are
comes from the
amazing.
same factories.
Right. So I like those because they're a lot less expensive than the Honda, but
Sure.
have basically all the same parts, so you can order the same thing, and have a couple of them instead of paying the premium for the Honda. As much as I do like Honda,
Oh yeah.
so that's my take is have a couple, and everybody should be aware that a unopened generator is what I call Schrodinger's generator.
Yeah. Right.
So
It might work.
yeah,
It
so
might work for a little while.
do you even have a generator in that box?
Nah.
So in Schrodinger's, what he was famous for was Schrodinger's cat. So if people want to look that up, it's an entertaining mental exercise.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, I really love the small inverter generators. And if you're on a budget or if you want something really quiet and really efficient, that's really where I'd start. And in my case, personally, on my own property, that's where I ended. That's what I have.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Sure.
because it allows me to charge up the batteries on my backup systems really well and run a few other things if I need to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How
So
often do you cycle those? How often do you run them?
the generator,
Mhm.
probably once every 2 months, I start it up and then I shut off the carb
Yeah. And let it
or shut off the
completely
gas.
drain.
Yeah, the gas, and let it run
Right.
until it runs out.
Good.
Um,
Pro tip. Do that.
what's your protocol on that?
I try to do it at least quarterly at the very least. I also have a trickle charger that sits on the battery because I have an electric start.
Mhm.
Pole starts are always great, but having electric starts because I'm lazy. But having a trickle charger on there has saved my keister. But yeah, at least quarterly.
Okay. Yeah. I think once you get above about, I don't know, 5, 6 months, it's when you tend to start seeing ethanol start to come
Well,
off.
and that's the other thing is if you can get non-ethanol fuel,
Mhm.
do that.
Yeah. Yeah. We actually are able to here. I
There's a
know
couple
other
places.
places it's harder.
Yeah, Crossville's got or Monterey. Monterey's got a non-ethanol fuel tank, and there's a couple of them around. Oh, shoot, I was going to say something else about that.
I like
Non-ethanol.
using, so if you've got a well trafficked like marina or somewhere else
Yeah,
where the non-ethanol is being bought really
right.
consistently, I like going there, so you're getting fresh non-ethanol gas.
Oh yeah, because it hasn't been say. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Stable. There's a lot of additives that you can throw in there to stabilize it to reduce it from going bad and going to varnish.
Mhm. Yeah, there's some good ones. Are you familiar with, have you kind of gone through what's good and what's not?
I did 4 years ago. So if there's anything new on the market, don't know. I ended up on with the STP product was my favorite. Um, Stabilize, whatever that one was. Yeah, it was a good one. There's a couple of them.
Yeah. I really like Seafoam.
Seafoam's good.
Just
I like
just the
Seafoam.
original Seafoam. It's
Yep.
not necessarily a long-term stabilizer,
It's not technically, no.
but it seems to work for that to
It
some
does,
extent.
and it does a good job of cleaning everything out as it's flowing through,
Mhm.
which is the other important part. And yes, Vic, I do agree. Having a pull start is good redundancy on having an electric start generator.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, you don't wanna yeah, if you've got an electric start, you wanna make sure it has a pull start as well, which a lot of the whole home generators that people think are just gonna fire up and run their home, they don't have an
They don't.
option for a pull start.
Right. Yeah. You've got your
Which
ATS and that's it. Like you can go out there and, do your automatic transfer switch, or you can, manually fire it off, but it's still using that electric starter. And if that fails, oh, well, yeah.
Yep.
If I can, I want to be able to get to the actual castle nut, and so that I can run my impact driver on it and spin it over if I need to.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I don't know if you've seen these, but you can get, specifically a ratcheting, um, starter for a
They're great.
drill.
Uh-huh.
So once it kicks on, it doesn't
It
fling your
won't.
drill around.
Yes. Yes, because that sucks.
Yeah. That's not fun. I have done it before. It's not real safe. Um, so yeah, I would oh,
Yes, that is the stuff. Stabilize that. That's the stuff. Like,
yeah. And Vic also mentioned Seafoam.
yes.
I'm a big fan. If you want some entertainment, there's some guys who've done videos on basically they've tried restoring engines entirely with Seafoam.
Wow.
And like
I
engines
mean,
that had specific problems, right?
sure.
And actually found some pretty surprising success with it.
That's awesome.
So
Engine seized. Seafoam. Water
yeah,
in the
not
fuel.
quite that.
Seafoam. No oil. Seafoam.
Yeah, there's some limitations.
Eh.
But one of the big things I really love about these small inverter generators is so not only is it quiet, so you're not letting the entire neighborhood know that you're running a generator.
Sure.
You don't have to listen to it, but
It,
go ahead.
no, I was saying it's really annoying. I have auditory issues anyway, so having that droning just all the yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah. And so not having to deal with that. They also put out better power than your standard generator because a standard generator has to keep spinning at the exact right speed to keep the
right,
hertz correct.
right,
Whereas an inverter generator can actually slow down or pick up, which is why it's able to be a lot more fuel efficient at
right.
those lower draws as well, which is really nice.
Yeah. So you don't have to maintain that 80%. You can maintain a lower percentage of use, but it will still maintain correct, frequency, and yeah, absolutely.
And much better efficiency. It's still probably not going to be quite the same efficiency as if you were pushing it to that 80%.
True.
But it's going to be a lot better than a standard generator. Because if you ran a standard whole home generator, like a 2200 watt generator, and didn't have anything on it, it would still run out of gas pretty quickly because just to run,
It's just yeah, exactly. It's still an engine. It's still running. It's still a larger
right.
displacement engine.
Yeah, and it still has to run faster and a lot less efficiently than like a car at idle.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has to actually keep the motor spinning fast enough to keep the hertz correct. So
right.
Another ding on that one for me. But anyways, it's quieter. So if you're concerned about safety and not in a long-term outage, crap hits the fan type situation, it's great for that. It's super portable. So most people can easily pick one of these up and move it wherever they need it.
Oh yeah. When there was a really bad snowstorm, our church, we all of the guys got together and we pulled out all of the generators and we were going to, just start toting them around to, help people to be able to charge up their, stuff and to run their refrigerator and whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, those things are so light and so much more maneuverable. Like my big old thing is like, I'm gonna have to bring my trailer and with, fuel tanks and then run extension cords. And
Yep.
these other little guys are like, no, I'll just carry it right to their porch and just set it right out on the porch and we'll just plug right into it. I was like, dang, that's smart and much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm not poo pooing the idea of having a bigger generator,
Oh
but
no,
this is
have their
where I
place.
would, yeah, this is where I would start if,
Exactly.
especially if you're budget limited and you're just trying to start stacking a few of these things to keep essentials running like your refrigerator. This is
Yep.
an excellent place to start.
Very much so.
And I'd say my biggest benefit with one of these is, so I've built my own solar electric systems
Yeah.
that are, both of them so far are technically portable, though one's kind of hard to move because it's so big. Um, but I've set them up so that I can plug them into a generator and I can program those solar electric systems so that if I plug it into a generator, it will top off the batteries and I can program it to top it off at the rate that I want it to. So I
Ooh.
can dial it into that perfect window for my generator.
Oh, that's slick. Okay.
And so,
That's
yeah. So now I run everything when it's off, when we have an outage, everything runs off of my solar electric, or my big portable system, which is 3000 watts,
okay.
3000 watt inverter. And, um, and when I need to top it off, I just plug it into the generator for a little bit,
Sure.
top off the batteries, and I get super efficiency and a long runtime off of my system.
Oh yeah, sure.
So
Absolutely. And yeah, Vic, I've got like a little 350-watt micro inverter that plugs right into my cigarette lighter just because, like, why not? Because yes, your vehicles have a built-in generator and
yep.
they're useful for things.
And I really like having, you can put in a separate, I haven't done this in any of my vehicles, but I'd really love to, is you can put in um
A
a small
dedicated,
a small charge controller
yeah.
that takes the from the alternator. It's going to take that and charge a separate battery, so it's a
Hmm.
separate system.
Hmm.
And if it doesn't reach the right voltage, that system won't turn on, so it won't
Yep.
backfeed.
Right.
I'm sorry, not backfeed. It won't drain your battery system.
Either way, yeah, you can put diodes in there, check in there. I helped a guy. He was doing a cross country trip, and his father-in-law was on oxygen concentrator, and so
Mhm.
we wired in a dedicated inverter, full battery setup, like the whole kit, because they were going to
Cool.
stay in their vehicle,
Yep.
and so it worked. It worked great.
Yeah. And my one caution with what Vic said, which is a good note and something people should know, is that one, through a cigarette lighter, you're going to have limited wattage.
Oh yeah.
So keep that in mind. And two, even if you've got like one of the clamp on ones, that was going to give you a much higher wattage output. Um, you're still going to be running your battery down and your
Mhm.
vehicle is going to be idling. And so at
Right.
idle, your alternator produces a lot less power. It's intended to produce its peak power
Running.
while you're
Yeah.
driving.
Right.
Yeah. So keep that in mind. And it can be really easy to drain your battery too far, shut your vehicle off, and come back to a vehicle that won't start.
Yep. Sure.
So just, it's great option. If you can use diodes or something to separate the um, the way that the thing charges and have a separate battery is the way I would do it if you can. But that's
Yep.
complex.
It is. It's a little bit more complex.
So we kind of already got into this, but my fourth step or point here would be to get something like a larger power station or a do-it-yourself solar electric power station.
Okay.
Um, the reason for this is because it's the same idea as the smaller battery, where you can run all this stuff off a USB and you can charge it back up with a small generator. But these power stations, you can do the same thing. You can use a suitcase generator. You might get a slightly larger one to power these, but you can charge them up. And a lot of these power stations have become very inexpensive. And so now you've got this system where If you wanted to, you could plug a few panels into it and
Mm,
keep it topped off longer in
right.
between times you might have to run your generator. It will run bigger items, um, and it's still portable. It's still very inexpensive. So it has all these potential benefits and ways that you could use it along with the systems that we've already talked about adding in.
Right.
So I absolutely love this. This is, like I said, this is how I've set up my house. Is I've got a couple of these portable solar electric systems with one that's much larger, one that's a bit smaller, um, and I can use them in different places in my house or on different places on my property, or I can even loan them out to friends and family. Like the big snowstorm we had over the winter,
Yeah.
I was able to give my power bank and my one of my um, inverter generators to my brother
Oh,
because he
nice.
was out where there was no power for like 2 weeks.
Ooh, yeah, that's a long
So
time.
yeah, yeah, to keep pipes from freezing and other things. Um, the other cool thing about these battery banks is now you can start stacking other things on top of them that you might not otherwise with the smaller systems. For
Mm,
example, a diesel heater.
right.
So if your house is all electric heat, which mine is, which I'm trying to fix, getting to wood heat and things.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but one of the ways that I back up power or back up heating is I use a diesel heater, which are great. They're meant for RVing and I think 18 wheelers and things, but
Sure.
they work for your house too, especially if some of them plug into 110 or 120.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them are 12 volt. You can get various different kinds.
Yeah, because I
Um,
mean, like, what you've got your igniter and a fan. Like,
mhm.
there isn't really much power requirements for that, is there?
No, there's not. And there's two fans. So there's one to move the air on the inside, on the far side of the air exchanger or the heat exchanger.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, sure.
And there's another one to push or to pull air through to the combustion chamber.
Ah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
both on the same shaft from the same motor.
Okay.
So it's very low usage. I think I pegged it at something like 35 watts for my diesel heater
Oh
once
gosh,
you
that's
get through
barely
startup.
anything.
Yeah, it's
Ah,
the igniter's like 300 watts. The running watts are like 35. So it's like 335 watts at startup for about, 30 seconds.
and then yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, and then it's 35 watts the rest of the time. And so a small 100 amp hour 12 volt battery will run that for a couple of days at least.
Sure, sure.
So that's been my approach is to now that I've got that portable power station, I've got a generator that can top it off. I've got some solar panels so I can try to make my intervals between using the generator longer. Um,
That's awesome. So you have
yeah.
redundancy and or distributed infrastructure.
Hmm. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. And I can top off both of those banks at the same time with my generator if I want, or if I've got two big banks, maybe I do one at a time and I alternate between them with my generator. So it gives me a ton of flexibility. And then if like things are bad for a really long time and I run out of fuel, which we're going to talk about fuel storage here in a minute, but
Yep.
if I run out of fuel, my fuel goes bad, whatever. I've got, you know, I can then pare down to my even more bare essentials and keep that running with just a few solar panels and the portable power stations and remove the generator from the equation entirely. So
Sure.
thinking these things through and having my systems thought through for what do I run in these circumstances uh,
Mm,
can put me in a position to be ready to basically make it the long duration as needed on a inexpensive small system.
right. Yeah, yeah. Sure.
So, all right, we kind of already got here, but the next step was adding a couple of solar panels.
Yep. We did.
So, if you're in the Middle Tennessee area, there's a great company called TerraPower.
Hmm.
I think they also go by BBB Industries in Sparta. And what they do is they have a whole solar panel reclamation uh, facility. So they take in solar panels and they don't just like clean them and resell them as used panels. They actually have I think you told me this, a car washing station that's been
Yes.
modified
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
clean the panels.
Yeah. It's
And
really cool. They just chopped it right down the middle, squished it together. So it goes through there, has the same beaters that, clean it all off. And then they put it on a light box, light it up, make sure that it's actually outputting correctly. And then they sell them, and pennies on the dollar. I mean,
yes.
gosh, how much you were getting them for, like, what, $20 a panel or less?
Well, okay. So there's some oddball ones that I was getting
Yeah.
for $10 a panel for 330-watt panels,
$10 a panel.
which
Oh my gosh.
I just did an install recently. And um, the client had actually put in the array, which was awesome. He did a great job. So I just had to wire it up, which was really nice. Anyways, we had used those $10 panels because I got him a whole pile of them
Sure.
when they were available. They're not anymore. Um, and so we tested them because I was charging up his batteries after putting his system in.
Mm,
He had a what should have been a if by spec a 3300 or 3.3
330.
kilowatt
Oh, okay. Yeah.
system, and it was charging at I think is 2.98, so almost 3,000 watts
Okay.
at noon. These
Yeah.
panels are like they're old, so and they're working at 90ish%.
Still, yeah, I'll say still above 90% of their original capacity. So
Exactly. Um,
that's, you
but
can't beat that. I mean, you
yeah.
can't.
Now those ones, not only were they oddball, but they also had they were not being tested because they're
Because
oddball.
that weird frame.
They couldn't run them through their cleaning and testing system.
Sure.
So I did run into one panel, and I was glad I did this. I went to every single panel and tested it with a voltmeter, and they're all 56-volt panels, and one tested out as 16 volts.
Ah,
Like
got throw
that
that
one's
one.
going to the trash because
Yes.
it's $10. We're not even
Right.
going to try to fix it.
Nope.
So, anyways, but Facebook Marketplace, if you're careful, can also be a good
Yes.
place to get some good high quality panels at a good price. But basically, you're going to be looking at anywhere from about 2 to 4 300 watt to 400 wattish, right in that range panels that match your power station or
Hmm.
your solar generator that you're dealing with, and have enough wire and maybe some breakers or something set up that are kind of pre-wired so they're ready to go into your system when you have an outage. Um, that can save you a lot of gas and a lot of headache.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah. And test this stuff, use it,
Yes.
try it.
Yep.
If you know where all the parts are, like, oh, I know all I have to do is get this connector. It goes into here. I have to shut my breaker off, and then I plug this in, and I'm good to go.
Yep.
Go run it, test. It's like backpacks. It's like, go rock, load it up with whatever it is you think you're going to need in the woods, and go walk and
Hmm.
figure out if, like, wow, this is a lot of weight, or like, I didn't need half the stuff I brought. You have to test the stuff. You have to actually use it to know that it works and to know where all the pieces are.
Yeah.
And so same thing.
Well, and the other thing is you could set one of these up, a power station for that matter. You could set it up semi permanently. So
Yes.
it's in place, it's running the things you want it to run, and it's plugged into grid power. But you could then also install those solar panels in a permanent location, let's say on a shed or a carport or something
Right.
outside, and have it
And
running in. It's not going to do much to reduce your power bill or anything like that. But if you have an outage, it's already set up, it's already running, and it's kind of cool because you're already running your items off of solar. So
mhm.
in for a lot of power banks, I believe you can set them to only charge once from grid once they hit a low,
Oh,
like
okay. Certain
20% or
percentage.
whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Yep, and to go from solar first.
Sure.
So you can set it up as an uninterruptible power supply that also is charging from solar most of the time, and defaults back to
Right.
or
It's a
gets back
UPS on
to grid.
steroids.
Yeah. Um, And so not only does that allow you to have that system already set up, tested, running all the time, and so it works when power goes out. Um, it also um, it also lets you test it, so you can
Mm,
test like, am I consistently running out of power at night, and what
sure.
device is running me out of power? So you can experiment. You can unplug something, move it back over to grid, and figure out what exactly your power station can run just on solar, and so you can feel that out and figure it out before you hit a crisis point or an outage.
Sure. Sure.
um okay, the um, last part that I really wanted to cover in detail is fuel storage and management. So
Yep.
you probably have some stories on this, working on vehicles and generators and things.
All the varnish. Oh, the smells. It's horrible. Take care of your fuel, guys. Um,
Mhm.
well, okay. So we've talked about when we were talking about food preservation, first in, first out. If you're going to have a jug of gasoline in your garage, that's great. You need to put it into your vehicle and then replace it
Mhm.
I wouldn't go beyond 6 months, honestly, probably
Yeah.
less than that, but at the outside, 6 months. Use this stuff. I mean, if you've got, five gallon jugs of gasoline sitting in your garage, you've got a whole bunch of varnish.
Mhm.
It's just, you do. Even with stable or whatever, you're still, you're running the risk of causing yourself a whole bunch of heartache in a really inopportune time when you
Right.
go to use this stuff. So yeah, now kudos to propane. It doesn't go bad. I
Mhm.
like my propane. That's why I got a dual fuel, because I wanted to have that. Well, because
Right.
I had my Forge, which already ran on propane. I'm like, well, this would be just too easy. I've already got a couple, 20 pounders. I'll just run it off of propane.
Yeah. That's actually a really important point that I wanted to get to. So we'll just tackle it now. Is if you've got something else that runs on a fuel that your generator is going to run on, that makes more sense,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh gosh,
So
yeah.
if you've
Even if
got
it's just
a
a stupid barbecue, like,
right. So if
you've
it's
got it.
propane and you've got other uses for that propane,
Just do it.
propane doesn't matter as much because it doesn't go bad, but gasoline or diesel, like if I've got a diesel truck and a diesel heater and a diesel generator, that
Makes
makes a lot
perfect
of
sense.
sense,
Really
right?
does.
Yeah. If I've got a diesel heater and a gasoline generator and like
Yeah. You have
that's
all of the things.
well, and that's actually what I have,
Oh,
uh, but I've got gasoline cars, right? So
right,
that makes
right.
a lot of sense
Sure.
in that I can, if I'm storing, let's say I store a 5 gallon jug of non-ethanol gasoline, um, for January, and I put January
Yeah.
on that. And I
Yep.
do the same. I get, 12 of them, or maybe I get, one for every other month when I'm first starting out because it's expensive. Um, but I'm never wasting that gasoline because when that month comes, I pour that into my car,
Sure.
right? So that I know that and then in February, that gas that I got previous February, I pour into the car, or, you can shorten that time frame. So like you said, it's no more than 6 months. But I'm never spending a lot extra on fuel. I'm just cycling through it. So as soon as I pour that can into my car, that day I'm going to take that can with me and fill it up
Mm,
at the gas station.
sure.
So I'm never without, one of my backups.
Yep.
And so that way I'm constantly having to cycle through my gasoline rather than, and if I don't have a gasoline vehicle, I've got a diesel vehicle and I've got a gasoline generator. What am I going to do with all that extra gasoline
Right.
when I need to cycle it through?
Yeah. I will say that when the fuel prices went stupid, um,
Mhm.
I definitely used several of my saved containers of gasoline
Yeah.
and waited that one out until the prices came back down, and then went and filled it all up.
So it's Jared's strategic petroleum
It
reserve.
was. It absolutely was.
Nice. Yeah, I mean that's another way that preparedness and careful management of your systems can actually save you a lot of money over time
And
too.
it did. It actually, I was going through, I was like, okay, the prices came down. I remember it was like 60 cents a gallon. I'm like, there's 30 gallons that I just went through right there. Like, that's a lot of money.
Right. Yeah, I think, it might not seem like a lot to some people, but when you're actually thinking about how do you reduce costs, how do you set yourself up so that you're not, running at 100 miles an hour when the road ends, you know, like those are it's important things to think about to reduce your cost of living as much as possible,
Right.
feasibly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's limitations, obviously, but we're trying to do what we can.
Yep. But I love dual fuel or tri-fuel generators for multiple reasons. One is if you never run them on gasoline, you will never gum up your carburetor.
Yes.
So,
Perfect.
yeah. So if you've got natural gas, you can run the generator on natural gas and have
Yes.
that all set up. You can have it all set up on your deck or wherever before anything ever happens. And so you run your generator on that. If natural gas stops working because it is technically a grid item,
Yep.
have some propane backed up, right?
Absolutely.
So run your generator on propane. Um, and then if all else fails and you're stuck there and you can get some gasoline out of your vehicle or you have some stored or whatever, now you can run your generator on gasoline.
Hmm.
So I really love the dual and tri-fuel options.
Yep. Absolutely.
Do keep in mind that a generator running on a gas is going to be a little bit lower power than it's rated for on gas. Like if it's running on propane or natural gas, it's going to have a lower rating for the wattage output.
Yep. Yeah. So my 4650 gasoline is what did I say it was 42, 42 on propane.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah. So it drops it a bit, and so you just have to make sure that your loads aren't too much for that.
Right.
That you've accommodated that.
Yep.
Anything else on storage that you can think of?
Not really. I mean, like I said, like propane is nice because it stores indefinitely. I mean,
Yep.
that's the best aspect of propane. I mean, yes, it has a lower energy density, but the longevity kind of outweighs that.
Yeah. And you can get 100-gallon tanks pretty inexpensively.
Hmm.
And technically, those are legal to transport. And
Yes.
they're also legal to have directly against your home in most locations.
Oh yeah, sure.
So you don't have to put it like way out in the yard or
Right.
anything like that.
And then
So,
pipe it over to the
yeah, which becomes an issue in cold weather because propane, the pressure reduces and yeah,
things like to freeze up and yeah.
yep. And so then you don't need to worry about big expensive copper lines and stuff like that. You can put it really close to your generator.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Anything else about, like fuel cans or anything like that that you can think of that people might be interested in?
You can always backfill the 1 pound propane tanks with your 20 pounder.
Yep. Yeah.
Flip it upside down. You're not going to get a full fill, but you're going to be able to fill it up, and then you don't have to run. You can also run adapters.
Yep.
There's some adapters that you can do. So for like your small little camp cook stoves and little heaters and whatever else you're rocking with your 1 pounder,
Yep.
there's ways to adapt, and having that ecosystem, for lack of a better term, is really great. It's a great thing to have to be able to run everything off of it.
Yeah. No, my buddy heaters, I got adapters for those. So those run on 5-gallon propane tanks,
Okay, yeah,
which obviously lasts a lot longer than the little tiny 1 gallons.
little, yeah.
Um,
I mean, I got my little Coleman that I've had for like 20 years. It runs on the 1 pounder. Like, you know what? It works.
right.
Like,
Yeah. For the cooktops, it's a little bit different because with a cooktop, you're only using it for a certain period of time.
yeah,
With a heater, usually you have it on kind of
and
indefinitely
it
during
burns. Yeah.
outages. Um, I really like you can get old school gas spouts. So if you go on Amazon, you can get non-EPA approved gas spouts that are
They're
technically
not rated
water
for.
spouts,
Yes, I love
uh,
it.
but they look exactly like gas spouts and they're made of the right plastic, etc.
Right.
So you can get those. I really like it's a little fuel pump. It works for diesel or gasoline. It'll screw on to
Oh, a
basically any
little
type of
transfer.
can. Yeah, it's a transfer pump, but it's got a little impeller that sticks down in the tank,
Ooh,
and it's got an automatic shut off, and it's total Chinesium, but it works really well.
hey,
Runs off of
not stupid if it works.
AA batteries, which you can get
Really?
rechargeable AA batteries.
Yes.
So I just really like it. I mean, yeah, have your better spouts and funnels on hand and things if that little pump breaks, but I really like it, especially for like filling a tractor where you've got the can above your head and
Hate that. It
yeah, and
is
you
so
end
bad.
up spilling on yourself. They're
Or
great for
yeah,
that.
soaks your tractor. Oh, batteries. Thank you. You can get just about every battery you can imagine as direct USB Type C rechargeable. So your
Mhm.
9 volts, your AAA's, your double A's, even some of the weirder little fat ones, the CR 123s, 18650s, 2560, 525, 240.
18650s.
The bigger, fatter ones. Anyway,
Oh,
you can
okay.
get them all with direct USB Type C. So that goes back to the Anchor, battery bank. If you have that, then you can just plug all of your batteries into it, and hey, you're still up and running.
All your double A's, your triple A's. Yeah, that's an excellent point. Those are USB-C
2650. Thank you,
rechargeable.
Dylan.
Oh, okay. Nice. And then let's see.
Vic, you're being a punk.
Yep.
You're
For
lazy.
those who don't know, I put up a video which I've made like I don't know if I want to reveal the amount, but a large sum of money on affiliate sales, which is awesome. And
Nice.
basically all of the or not all of the comments, but a huge number of the comments are what does our
You're
society come to?
rich.
You're so lazy. You can't even lift a 2 gallon can. It's a 5 gallon can, and I can, but I don't want to. Like,
How? Why
yeah,
would I think
yeah,
work smarter, not harder, stupid?
yep. It's like, yeah, I can work a whole day digging holes if I want to, or I can use a tractor. Is there something wrong with that?
Yeah, seriously.
So,
Why would I?
anyways, Vic is just,
He's trolling you.
well, he's not even trolling me. I don't think. I think he's making fun of the other people.
I think so.
So, okay, fuel storage. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that covers it generally. And then the last thing I wanted to note was basically large generators and for
Hmm.
larger loads. So
Yeah, sure.
um, this can be really useful for, especially for like water pumps or well
Okay.
pumps.
Yeah.
You've got a really deep well, like a 400 plus foot well. Um, running that off of a battery is,
That's a significant load.
yeah,
That's
that's a hard thing to keep running,
yeah, that is.
especially if you've got irrigation or anything that's going to require a large amount of water. Um, and if you have to run an HVAC unit, if that's really your only option, a large generator would be your way to do that. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of, or if you've got a very large battery bank for maybe a solar electric system, that's another case. But generally speaking, I prefer to avoid large generators, both because of the fuel consumption, the maintenance cost, the noise, the cost in general to buy it. They're all pretty big downsides that if I can avoid, I don't want.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, Vic, I was totally making fun of those people. I figured. I mean, you can make fun of me. I figured you weren't. I figured you're not dumb enough to think that it's dumb to work harder,
Right.
smarter instead of
Smarter, not
harder.
harder, yeah.
Yep.
I did see it was a full family compound, and they spent the money, and they had a 25K or 30K. It was a big one.
Mhm.
And I got that. I like that made perfect sense. Like you're running like 4 households. Sure. I totally
Yeah.
get.
Makes a little more sense to me too if you're dealing with diesel. Because
It
propane you
was.
hit,
Yeah, it was an
yeah,
old military
I
one. It was an old
figured.
diesel. Yeah.
Yeah. The diesel ones make a little bit more sense. Not only are they more serviceable in some ways because you can get all the service manuals and parts if you want to pre-order them. But they're being able to store diesel. You can get a very large diesel tank and your
Yeah.
energy density is really high. So it makes a little bit more sense, but I
It's
still,
not as susceptible to rotting out like
correct.
gasoline.
Correct. So I don't know. I'm still not a big fan, but I can see a use. Um, yeah, so there are some alternative systems for high energy needs. Obviously, we very briefly mentioned wood. So wood is a great way to heat, cook. Um, it's a renewable resource that you can grow on your own land or
Yep.
harvest from a neighbor who wants trees in their forest cleaned up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so wood is a great way to cook and heat. Obviously, propane, natural gas, those are a great way to heat or potentially cook or do other things with. Um,
Wood's nice because it's direct. You're not
mhm,
going through an intermediary source where you're like burning the propane to make the electricity to turn it into heat through a right? It's direct. It's like
right.
you're just burning the wood.
Yeah.
It just burns. And so it's more efficient is better usually.
Right. Yeah, I'd say with on the wood side, the real caveat to like being a totally off-grid system, heating system, is that you still need gasoline to run your chainsaw.
Oh yeah.
Now, there are battery-powered chainsaws that you could charge from solar,
This is true.
and they've gotten pretty decent. Milwaukee and Husqvarna both have some decent ones.
Vic's going old school. I love it. Hey, if I'm going to go steam generator, I'm going to figure out some way of making it nuclear.
That won't raise any red flags.
No, I'm already on all of the watch lists. I don't worry about things like that.
Where are you getting your material?
Oh, I found it. It's on the side of the road.
So yeah, there's some other things that can be done like solar water heating, solar cooking. So we're not talking about taking solar electric and heating. It's literally you can get these little ovens that
Mhm.
will you point at the sun and they just reflect
Yep.
light into it and heat. Um,
Parabola, the parabolic mirror focused.
yep. Keep in mind for cooling, doing things like putting window shading in, using fans, making sure you've got good ventilation, cooling one room instead of a bunch of rooms. If you've got somebody who's maybe, elderly and actually must have cooling,
Right.
find a small room, put a window unit in. You can get really efficient window units now. Inverter unit window units are typically the way to go. Um, or even
Mm,
potentially a mini split like you were talking about.
yeah. Go EG4.
Yep. EG4 came up with a window unit now as well.
I saw that it like curves, bends like almost around so it sits down
I don't
out
know
of
if
the way.
theirs does.
Okay.
That's so
Who won? Who made
let's
that
see,
one?
GE and Media
Is that what
both
it is?
make or
Okay.
LG. Yeah, and LG I think
Okay.
make ones that are this U shape. The
Yeah. That's cool.
EG4 takes up your window like a traditional window unit, but
But it doesn't do the air exchange, so you don't sucking hot air from outside.
correct. And
Yay!
and it will run on solar, so you can plug solar panels into it. So it does the
Good
same
example.
thing as your mini split, but it's a little less expensive, and you can move
It
it
wasn't even
from
bad. I think I want to say it. 14, 1400, $1,500. Wasn't
Yep.
bad.
Yeah, this
Cost me
window
almost that much
unit
to
is
install.
800, I believe.
Hey, that's not bad at all.
No.
For what you're getting, that's phenomenal.
Yep. So we've talked about this before, but you can install a solar, like I was talking about my solar electric system being portable. You can install something that's just um, I call it a critical load system. And did we do this in one of the podcasts previously?
Critical load? Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
was an
So we've
early one though.
got an entire podcast on critical load solar electric. It's a similar idea, but it's to the portable one I was talking about, but it's installed in your house permanently and you're constantly using it so you know that it's working properly.
Yep. It's always there taking care of the important stuff.
Yep. Um, I think that pretty much covers it. It's most of what I wanted to talk about. The idea here really is that we're building redundancy and we're thinking about ways to get by with less so
Hmm.
that, we can use that bigger generator, but we have some backup tiers along with it. And maybe those backup tiers were our first preparedness items and we kind of built over time rather than going out and buying a bunch of stuff and not knowing what we really need.
Yeah. Right. Right. And buying things with the intent purpose of I can talk with the intent purpose of future expansion. So, some of those ecosystems are fairly limited to how much they can grow.
Mhm.
Yeah. Buying something that actually is intended to be able to stack.
Yep. Yeah. So the solar generators or power stations that we talked about, some of those are great. And if people are listening and they want a recommendation, I do have one. You can reach out to me and I'll send you links for it. But I've got a couple of recommendations that are just really good ones for the price. But the point being, you can get a expansion battery for those,
Right.
but and the unit's probably going to last much longer than the company will continue to produce those batteries. And so if you want to expand the battery later, there's a good chance you won't be able to because and I've had talked to multiple people who've run into this issue because they bought that solar generator and then next year they discontinued it. The solar generator worked fine, but the new batteries for the new
Oh,
system aren't backwards compatible.
that sucks.
Yeah, so
Oh,
keep
I'll
that
be
in mind
pissed.
when you're buying those that because you didn't build it, it's not expandable. If you build your
Right.
own, usually you can expand it how you want to.
Sure.
So, and that's why I built my own and did a video so that people could see how to build their own.
So go to Ryan's YouTube channel, the Homestead Consultant,
Yep.
and watch the video.
Scroll back ways. I've got a whole how to build. Not only how to, but like why I'm using the components I'm using.
Right.
And you can use the components I linked, or you could find, cheaper other manufacturers that basically build the exact same thing and sell it for less. So,
Right.
Rocky Pine says I ran. I think
Hey,
that was
I'm
about
not saying where my sources were. I'm not. I'm gonna have a Fed show up. Gosh darn you, Vic.
Vic, you're going to get us in trouble. Cool. Well, Jared, thanks for doing this one with me and
Absolutely.
backing me up on some of my crazy ideas. And
I'm in it with you, man.
we'll do this again next week on some other interesting topic.
Yeah.
We are trying to get better built dogs on. So this is
Yeah.
a Dakota who trains dogs, trains. Well, first he trained a service dog, and I'll let him tell his story. But now he trains various protection dogs, and so I thought it'd be really cool to have him on talking about what he does, how he does it, and maybe a little bit about training people on being better dog owners as
There you
well,
go.
so that we can get our dogs to do what we want them to for their benefit and for ours. So
Absolutely.
keep an eye out for that one. We're hoping to have him on soon, and I'm sure some other cool guests. If you're somebody who loves what we're doing and does something mildly interesting in the homesteading
Let us
realm,
know.
yeah, let us know, or preparedness realm or whatever else. Even if it seems a little bit off the beaten path, we love talking to community members and giving them a chance to, talk about what they're doing. So, reach out. We'd be happy to have you on. That
Yes.
Jared, do you have what you do? How people can get a hold of you?
What do I do? I don't know what I do. I am Jared Wilson. I own and run Resilient Living. If you're in the Middle Tennessee area, in between Sparta and Spencer, which is right on 111, between like Cookville and Chattanooga, come by my shop, hang out, say hi. I'm a firearms dealer and gunsmith. I've got knives and backpacking equipment. I've got books, and we teach classes on occasion, not as often as I want to, but we're working on that. And we cover all of these topics from gardening to firearms training. So yeah, come by the shop. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, Facebook. I said that. YouTube. There's the other one. At Resilient Living or Resilient Living. On which one was it? It ended up Resilient Living. I was really irritated. Was it TikTok? It was TikTok. It was TikTok. They ended up with Resilient Living. So anyway, you can find us there. That's what I do.
Cool. And resilient nuclear power.
Hey, that's really resilient. Nuclear. I mean, you're not wrong.
Could be. All right. All right. Thanks, Rick, for being here. Or not Rick. Thanks, Vic, for being here. Yeah. All right. So I am Ryan Steva. I run the homesteadconsultant.com. People can find my information primarily at my website, thehomesteadconsultant.com, as well as my YouTube is kind of where I've mostly settled. I do Instagram and TikTok and whatever else, but basically if you've subscribed to my YouTube, that's where you'll see most of my stuff. And I help people set up homesteads. So if you've got homesteading stuff that you want to do, especially if you're kind of in the general middle to eastern Tennessee area, I've got you covered.
Heck yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jared.
Awesome. Absolutely. Thank you all for everybody who commented on everything from TikTok and Instagram, and everybody on YouTube and Facebook. Y'all are awesome, and you are our community. Honestly, you guys got to understand that this is what we're talking about. We want you guys to be the community, to reach out to each other, to get to know each other. I do have a Discord server for that intent purpose. I haven't done much with it. So if you guys want, maybe I'll pin the invite to the show description and everything.
And so we would be remiss to not tell people that the podcast is now on.
I'm on Apple. I finally got approved. I hate Apple so much, but they finally approved it. So we're on Apple Podcasts.
Yep. So if you guys want to hear our back catalog and want to listen while you, I don't know, drive or garden or whatever else, and you can't or don't want to watch a video.
Yep. Yeah. Apple Podcasts. Go check us out.
All right. Awesome, man.
All right, guys. We will see you next Tuesday.